Hello YouTube, welcome back to Silva Sagas, where every cloud has a silver lining. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be talking about our budget, and I'm going to take you through the 5 steps it has taken us to get back on track with our money. I would say pretty much our entire marriage, we have spent money just because we've spent money because we thought we've had it, and we lost control somewhere along the way. So now we were digging ourselves out, and I think from what I'm seeing on YouTube, there's a lot of us that have come across this year. I know it was one of my goals that I set last year. If you go back to my video, I'll put the link above here. One of the goals was to get financially secure, and that meant having an emergency fund, having our 3 to 6 months expenses, and then after I had that, I wanted to start tithing. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 steps that has actually put our mind at ease, and hopefully going forward, I'll keep you all updated in February, but it looks like we finally have a handle, and it took me all month of January to get a handle on our finances, just to know where our money was going, why it was going there. I found things where the bank had charged us overdraft fees when 3 times in the month of January, and they were for pending charges that eventually fell off because they were either a vendor verifying funds, or they were something that didn't go through until a few days later. But because on that day it looked like we were going to be overdraft, they went ahead and charged us the fees. So just something I want you to keep an eye on in your own checking account, because that can happen. The banks aren't perfect. They're not always right. So first off, we joined Financial Peace University through our church. We live in Santa Clarita Valley, and according to Lending Tree, Santa Clarita is number 2 in people living with the highest debt. That does not include mortgage. That is auto loans, credit cards, and student loans, personal loans. I don't want to be part of that. They say that 89% of us are living above and beyond our means, and we are. I want to be the 4% that aren't, or the part of the 11% that aren't. So we joined Financial Peace University, and in our first lesson was the starting our baby step number 1 is saving our $1,000 emergency fund. Okay, in my opinion, an emergency fund, and this has been through our entire married life and my entire adult life, Murphy's Law. I don't know if you know what Murphy's Law is, but if you do not have an emergency fund, an emergency is going to happen, and you're going to have to dig yourself out of it, and you're going to wonder, how am I going to pay for that emergency? I have been wondering that my entire adult life. So now our first step is to have that $1,000. And what constitutes an emergency? In my eyes, a car repair, a car breaking down. There was a time when my husband broke down on the side of the road, and we had no money for a tow truck because they want to be paid right then and there, and we did not have anything on our insurance for towing. I had to call my 30-year-old son and borrow money from him to pay the tow truck. So that is an emergency. I had a pet emergency. We have a loving cat. We love him to death. He has a personality like no other, but he is an outdoor hunting cat. He likes to eat the grass. So one night at 11 o'clock, he started gagging above my head and could never expel whatever was causing it. So I ended up having to take him to the pet emergency because his belly became very distended. And turns out he had a piece of grass about yay long stuck in his throat. He scratched his throat, so he was sore from that, and he had gagged so bad that his belly was full of air, so they had to give him like gas X so he could expel the gas. Well, because it was 11:30 at night, and pet meds seem to be more expensive than most, that little jaunt cost us $850, which we ended up having to put on our credit card, and we really didn't have the money for. Another emergency to me would be having to go to urgent care. It's cold and flu season. It's the first of the year. I have a PPO, and if I don't meet that deductible, which I don't, usually the first of the year, I have not yet met my deductible, I have to pay that deductible at the urgent care, or some of it, whatever it might cost. So I have to have money for that. So that is an emergency. So the next thing we learned is a zero-based budget. And that, I've heard people say budget, budget, budget. I've never understood what a zero-based budget was. And basically, what I'm learning now is that's telling every dollar that we earn where it's going to be spent. So the first step to creating a zero-based budget that's going to work for you, which has helped us, is I went back through past data. I pulled our checking account statements, and then I wrote out all our expenses. And I just wrote everything out, so and was highlighting every category, every expense that came out of the checking account, because let's face it, we didn't do anything with cash. We did it on the debit card. So I highlighted everything for 3 months that went to a specific category in a budget. And in doing that, like I had told you at the beginning of this video, I found $90 that the bank charged us, that rightfully so, had all those charges come out on that day, we would have been overdrawn, but they didn't. And so they went ahead and charged us 3 overdraft fees, which is an overdraft fee in our bank is $30. So that was $90. So that's almost $100 the bank got from us. So I found that. Then I found iTunes. I subscribed at some point. I subscribed to MyFitnessPal. I subscribed to an app called Sweat, which is a workout app. That app was charging me $19.99 a month. MyFitnessPal was charging me $9.99 a month. I have a Life 360 app. That app I did keep because I have a 16-year-old, and that just lets me know where he is at any given time. And when he starts driving, I'll be able to know how fast he's driving the car and where he's driving the car. So I can that's just a peace of mind. So for $2.99 a month, I'm keeping that subscription. We were eating out every day. I mean, if you go back through the past statements and highlight all the categories, you'll find where your money's being spent. And you'll be able to determine from there where you want your money to be spent. So you can start, we were $1,200 a month in groceries for 3 people. That is insane. So one other thing that I started, once I found out the grocery bill was so high, I did an inventory of, and if you follow the Budget Mom, which obviously I do. She does an inventory of her pantry and her freezer and her refrigerator. And then she builds recipes on the things that she has already on hand. And then that's how she works her meal planning throughout the month, which reduces her grocery bill. I would say we went from $1,200 to $600 a month. And I'd say that is a feat in itself. So I can confidently say that's one way to cut meals. Another thing I do is I make meals that stretch, that we can have a couple nights a week, and that has helped. And then, so another thing in your putting your budget together is knowing your credit cards, what the current balance is, what the percentage rate is, and what the minimum payments are. Because that's important if you're trying to get current. If you're behind on anything, you're trying to get current and save for your emergency fund at the same time, you're going to want to know what that is. So the third thing I found, like I just told you, was the subscriptions, iTunes, the game charges. That was another thing. Oh, let's just spend $20 on these extra lives. So that was happening several times throughout the month. So the fourth thing that helped us put our budget together or make our budget work and see our mistakes is our Budget by Paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom. I love this. And I love this because, and I know that Dave Ramsey, he does the Financial Peace University and he believes in a monthly budget. But for us, I had to break it down even more because my husband's income is not regular. Even though he gets paid weekly, it is not on a regular basis. He may work more hours than others. He's a union worker. So he may work on a Saturday and it'll be overtime, and he may work less during the week and it may be short. So we broke our budget down by week. We also keep a monthly budget, and I'll show you that here in a minute, but we broke our budget down by week. So the bills that come out of each paycheck, we write in here. What's left over from that, we take out in cash now. So as you can see, the 1st of January, it was slow go. We were just learning how to use the book, just kind of feeling our way out, getting through this. We put numbers down here. We didn't actually do these numbers. The car payment should have been up here. I mean, there was things messed up everywhere. We didn't do anything with any of our sinking funds. We didn't do anything with our extra debt. Until the 3rd week, we started gaining some traction. Now, in the 2nd week, we ended up going into the 3rd week overdrawn, but I did find that $90 and the bank did reimburse us on legitimate transactions. Our bills came out and we should have had $156.75 into savings. That didn't happen. Balance forward, it should have been $356.75. That did not happen. So this is this week's, and I will keep you posted on that. I will be going to the bank and doing my cash envelopes, as I say here. I have that all prepared. Another thing that I messed up on is this expense tracker. I used it as a check register, and I'm not too upset with that because that is how the month of January I was able to find those 3 charges that the bank took out of $30 each. But you can see up here, I ran out of space, and so I'm down to $104.55 in our checking account, but my husband gets paid tomorrow. Here is our debt payment plan, and these are where you're going to want to know your credit cards and your debt. I'm not sure about the IRS. This says $62,000, and this is just because I received an anonymous, or I shouldn't say anonymous, it was from a collection agency who has never called me, and the paperwork doesn't even look real, but it says that we owe the IRS $62,000. So I will be working on our taxes this next week, and I will be able to update that because I need to make a phone call to the IRS as well to find out what that really is, and I need to make a payment plan. So then I did work on our net worth, and I did base it off of that $62,000. Now that could all change, but our assets came to $564,610, and that is because my husband has a pension through the union of $500,000 or more. And then our liabilities with the $62,000 IRS is $111,000, giving us a net worth of $453,000. So that shows you that we are in debt $111,000 if that $62,000 is accurate. If not, that could change. But again, I will keep you updated on that. I did not use this monthly budget category breakdown because I didn't know how, and I needed to find out how the budget mom used it, but I will be using it in February for sure. Because I have a budget that I'm going to show you, that Dave Ramsey tool that is free for signing up. So I have my bills all written out for the month of February, and I have next week's paycheck bills all ready and envelopes ready. Now in March, we have $3,000 in airline tickets that we need to pay for our June vacation, and I'll keep you updated on that, how it comes out. So finally, the fifth thing, so doing the budget paycheck was the fourth step in helping us get through our budget. The fifth thing that helped us do our budget is this EveryDollar app, and this connects. How it works is it syncs to your bank account, and so it knows all your transactions. So I went into February and I set up a $0 budget. So every dollar that we make, if for that amount of money, is accounted for. Now, the awesome thing about this is it shows me that I can actually start tithing in February. Whereas one of my goals for 2020 was to start tithing in June, because I assumed I needed to have my 3 to 6 months savings of our expenses done, and our emergency fund. I found out that we can actually do that now. And if you read the Bible, if you follow along in the Bible, it tells you why you should be able to do that. And I have done it in the past, so I know that it's true. I just need to continue with that faith. Basically, it's you give and you get, and almost in tenfold. So if you read the story of Job, you just, all throughout the Bible, it tells you about your abundance in giving and how abundant you will be. So you just need to have faith, and faith is very important. So I have every dollar accounted for. The health insurance comes out of my husband's union dues. We have life insurance, auto insurance, and renter's insurance. Of course, our credit cards. I do have a personal loan. I I put our miscellaneous fund high, but I will be adjusting that. In fact, I will be reducing that by $160 and putting it towards a personal loan, because we did take a loan out of our 401k last year, and we owe $160 a month on that. So as a personal loan, I'm going to put that there. The credit card minimum payments will be reduced sometime in February, because one of the credit cards only has a $292 balance on it, so that will be paid off in February. And yeah, so these are the steps that we took, and I'm feeling pretty confident going into February that we actually finally have a handle on our finances and where our money is going. And I encourage you to watch Katie and Colin, their debt disaster videos. They have a series on right now. They're going through the same thing. They're $100,000 in debt as we are, and it makes me feel better to share this, knowing that I'm not alone, that there's others out there. So if you're suffering with debt, tell me your story. I'd love to hear. And did you get out of debt? And how did you get out of debt? What are some of your tricks and tips? Also, I want to encourage you to like, comment, and share on this video. And also let me know. I want to do some videos on some meals for finance savings, some inexpensive meals that you can stretch out throughout the week for large families, small families, and just give you a cost breakdown. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. Like this video and let me know. I have a chicken enchilada recipe and a French onion soup recipe that are pretty inexpensive and can go a long way. So let me know in the comments for sure. And as always, thank you for watching Silva Sagas, where every cloud has a silver lining. Bye.